Hello y'all, this is Broken Crescent, a Medieval 2 Total War mod centered around the Middle East that starts in 1174. This modifications map stretches from Anatolia to India, and there are a lot of interesting factions here. So first we have the Roman Empire. This is the Byzantines essentially. We have the Zingids, the Uanids, they're in Bahrain. We have the Seljuks of Rum, the kingdom, well, not the kingdom, the Ayyubids, they're in Egypt. And there is the Kingdom of Jerusalem. It's a Crusader state, basically. We have the Kingdom of Armenia. This is the Kingdom of Armenia, Cilicia, I think. There's the Kingdom of Marcoria. They're like in somewhere in Sudan or Ethiopia. That's the general region they're located in. There's the Kingdom of Georgia, the Kipchak Confederacy, the Abbasid Caliphate, who by 1174 AD have seen better days, definitely. There's the Imamate of Oman, the Imamate of Yemen, the Qasim Shahs. Then moving on more toward India, there is the Ghaznavids, the Ghurids, the Mamlukat of Sindh, the Paramara Rajputs, the Chauhan Rajputs, and we can't forget to mention, or we can't forget about them anyway, we have the Elghuzud Atabeg, and then there is the Kharakatan Khaganate. And it should be noted that the Mongols of the Mongol Empire fame are an emergent faction in this mod in Broken Crescent. They do appear at some point, and that's much to the displeasure, I suppose, of the Kharakatan Khaganate and the Qasim Shahs, who, historically, the Qasim Shahs, at the very least, did not have very good relations with the Mongols. We're looking at the campaign now, and there are a few features I should probably talk about. So, for example, there is the title system, and what that amounts to is essentially if you have a general stay in a settlement, certain settlements anyway, for a turn they'll get some kind of special retinue that will represent them being the governor of a place, that will give them different buffs and such, and sometimes debuffs. So for example, we have Ionis Vatases here, and he is the Despotus of Smyrna, and we have another example in the form of Emperor Manuel, however you say his name, and he is the Kaiser of Constantinople. And each place, I guess, kind of gets similar buffs or the same buffs, which is a very interesting system. And then after that, there is area of recruitment. A lot of Medieval 2 Total War mods have this, and especially ones that aim for some sense of realism, typically. And what that means is well, it means a faction will have they'll have special, unique home regions in which they're able to recruit units from their factional roster. In the regions they conquer, however, they'll only be able to recruit local units or special variations. And what this amounts to effectively doing, it is going to make your home regions very important to hold on to. Basically, you're starting cities and towns and settlements, and you won't be able to rely so much on troops recruited from places that are very far away from your starting home regions or home regions in general. And besides that, Broken Crescent does have a religion system, and there is quite a few religions. There is Eastern Christianity, Latin Christianity, Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, Kharji Islam, Buddhism, pagan polytheism, there is Hinduism and Judaism, and heresy and Manichaean beliefs, and that's all the religions here. And just looking at the map, there is a handful of, a couple factions I didn't even realize existed. I don't think you can play as them without altering some files, and they are the Principality of Vladimir Suzdal, that's a Rus faction essentially, and then there is the Khanate of Volga Bulgar, I think. And let's just look at diplomacy real quick, then we'll look at the map. So the Roman Empire starts off at war with no one, neither does the Seljuks of Rome. The Ayyubids are busy. They had to fight the Kingdom of Marcoria, the Imamate of Yemen, and the Zingids, and the rebels. And all the factions are at war with the rebels. They have no friends. The rebels don't anyway. Jerusalem has no real enemies, neither does Armenia at the start. Marcoria is fighting the Ayyubids, but the Ayyubids are busy fighting a lot of other places, as aforementioned. There's the Kingdom of Georgia. They're fighting the Elghuzud Atabeg. The Kipchak Confederacy has no real enemies except for rebels. The Abbasid Caliphate is fighting the Uanids. The Imamate of Oman is relatively peaceful. The Imamate of Yemen is fighting the Ayyubids. The Principality of Vladimir Suzdal is at war with the Khanate of Volga Bulgar. When you start in 1174, the Seljuks of Karman are at war no one. The Khwarezm Shahs are also at war no one. And the Ghaznavids, they're in a conflict with the Ghurids and the Chauhan Rajputs. And the Ghurids only have the Ghaznavids as their opponents. The Mamlakat of Sindh has no enemies, neither does the Paramara Rajputs. And the Chauhan Rajputs are fighting the Ghaznavids, and the Sindhids are fighting the Ayyubids. And the Unids are fighting, who is it, the Abbasid Caliphate, and the Elghazad Atabeg is fighting the Georgians, and the Karakhatan Khaganate is relatively peaceful. And of course, the Khanate of Volga Burger, however you say it, is fighting the Principality of Vladimir Suzdal when you start out in the Broken Crescent. And as far as the extent of the map goes, it goes all the way up to Tivir, which is controlled by Rus rebels initially, and to its very south there is, we have Soba in Makoria's territory, Axum, and that's how far the map goes to its southern extent. And to the north in India, we have all the way through the Himalayas. What is this here? There's some random Crusaders. I guess these guys may just spawn. The Fourth Crusade may be an event in this modification. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. And so there was just a rebel town here in Tibet. And it's just a crazy large map. It's pretty impressive, honestly. And that is just the map in general. So there's Kaman Shah, there's a lot of rebels. So there is going to be a lot of room for conquest in a standard campaign, typically. I want to show off what battles are like in Broken Crescent, so we'll show off a little bit of footage from two of them. And here we have the Roman Empire versus the the Seljuks of Rome. They're trying to charge into these units here. Goodness gracious, I'm sending these axemen to go fight against horse archers. Why did I think that was a good idea? Whatever. Just charge into them. Send our cavalry into their cavalry. They have Ghulam cavalry. And charge. Ghulam cavalry are very strong, but I have faith in our cavalry lancers. Also send in our cavalry lancers on this side of the line. Charge in with our swordsmen here, the Sparthoi swordsmen, and send these other units in the back forward. We have some, what are these guys even doing? They're spearmen that also double as skirmishers, it looks like. Okay, whatever. You guys do something useful at the very least. Be at least useful on paper. Move up our bodyguard and see how the melee's going. These are supposed to be elite axemen. Start using different, well, don't use flaming rock projectiles on our catapult. We can see how these axemen are doing damage. I don't know if they're supposed to be for ranging and guard. I could be wrong, though. They're fighting against Seljuk Ghazi swordsmen. So they're heavy swordsmen versus heavy infantry, really. Charge in, though. Come on, the Hippotoxitai are having some issues with the Kripkachul Guard, which are heavy cavalry of the Seljuks. And we're having our cavalry fight theirs. Big battle here between the Seljuks and the Romans. How's the swordsmen doing? They're trying to push forward, but with some success, generally. And use rally the troops now. And I think some are breaking. Good. Break them in the middle, please. They have they have light swordsmen there against our own light infantry. So that's a good thing for us, maybe. We also have our heavy infantry there, some of them anyway. Just keep doing damage. And these are pretty nice unit models, honestly. Very, very nice indeed. And those units are breaking. And there goes the Turkoman swordsmen. Chase after them. And also attack their catapult, because why not? Send those freed up units into the Turkmen heavy bowmen, and just make sure they're pinned down and can't rain down any barrage of very annoying arrows. And they're going to be hit now. Those are heavy infantry we have here already. And those, I think they're bowmen. They look pretty strong, honestly. There's some catapult projectiles flying in the background. But these Seljuk forces are having trouble holding back the forces of the Roman Empire. That is to say the least. And I think their cavalry broke, is that right? Maybe it did. And yeah, they definitely had some units break. And that catapult crew is not at all having a fun time. At the very least, I can say that for certain. The next clash we will see is one between Iobids and the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And the Iobids and Jerusalem did fight each other a lot in the Middle Ages. And so we have quite a few units here. I think the Jerusalem has more, and they're charging in with a lot of troops. We have a trebuchet, though. Just keep doing whatever. Lots of Crusaders. Dismounted Templars, very concerning. Whatever. And this is an army that cost about 20,000 denarii or florins or whatever they're called. And so I think units are more expensive in Broken Crescent as a whole compared to classic Medieval 2 Total War. I'm not entirely sure, though. Do we send in these infantry? We're going to be outnumbered pretty soon. But they have projectiles. I don't know. We need to use our weapons to our strength here. Please don't hit our commander. Move over here. Please go, my Sultan's Guard. Don't get destroyed by the enemy artillery. That would be very unfortunate. And we have our archers firing at the knights about Trimmer. That is heavy Crusader cavalry. So we're going to be facing off against them soon. Charge into that heavy cav. They're going to crash into our guys. Yeah, they weren't really ready, weren't they? They were not. They were not. They have tons of cavalry being very annoying now. They're sending in their dismounted knights of Jerusalem. And they're going to fight our light infantry. Not the best matchup, really. Just do more damage, please, guys. You can do this. Send in our Sultan's Guard now. To face off against the Latin Knights. We have our Toasan Mamluks. We do have Mamluks as the Iobids. That's one big key thing to have because this is medieval Egypt. Frankly, they're pretty strong. Just do damage. They're at least hitting their own people, so we do have that going in our favor. And here is some guards of Jerusalem. Pretty nice models and textures, frankly. And the artillery is raining overhead. Just keep doing a lot of damage. We're outnumbered, I think, as the Iobids. Not entirely sure, though. Just take out as many of these Latin Knights as much as we can. And they're well armored, but I think our units are better equipped to face them than they are to face us. Here are some Knights about Trimmer who have charged into our Mamluk Tabayaraya. However you say it, they're pretty well equipped, like very well armored indeed. And they're pretty strong looking too. So I hope that really makes a difference. I hope their stats are as good as their appearance anyway. So these knights are going to be... Please hit their own guys. Oh no, it hit some of our guys. That's bad. Fight their Latium Halberdiers. Has their cavalry broken yet? The answer to that statement is no. Should I go and attack their catapult? I don't know if we should or not. Just keep aiming and hit their units, especially their Turkopole archers. We have our Kwara Gulam bowmen in the background. They're trying to do damage. I don't know if they can do enough, though. And those knights about Trimmer may regret charging head-on into spearmen. I would too, frankly. Even though, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. Do not know what they were thinking at all. And let's get a little flank going here. Those Latin knights are so tanky. Their units, some of them broke. The halberdiers did break. And let's get a little charge going here. At least get that done. Once we get into position, get out of the way, please, you annoying knights. The Sultan's Guard wants to get through. Make way for the Sultan's Guard, please. We'll charge into their center. And maybe that will somehow break them. I don't really know. And let's see what happens here. And are they charging? Yes, they are. There we go. Here it is. And they broke right before they got here. Whatever. It's fine. At least you hit them from behind. I think they're spearmen, though, so don't fight them, actually. In fact, go just, I don't know, assault their archers. And just make sure they have a bad time overall. And with that, I'm going to end this video here. This has been Broken Crescent, one of the best mods from Medieval 2 Total War, honestly. You can check it out in the video description. A link to it is there. And after you do that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And ring the bell for notifications.